Welcome to my channel. I'm Gary Wiryawan, and today I want to do a follow-up review of this fantastic little pancakes prime lens, the Panasonic 20mm f1.7 Mark II. Let's go! So today I want to talk about this fantastic little prime pancake lens right here, the Panasonic 20mm f1.7 Mark II. I made a review about this lens so many years ago, you can check the link up here. But basically today what I want to do is I want to share my new thoughts, my new experience with this lens, because recently I've been using this lens a lot for my everyday photography challenge, where I try to force myself to always bring my camera with me so I can take more pictures and share it to you in little vlogs. You can check the Everyday Photography Challenge vlogs right here. And yeah, some of these videos are featuring this lens right here. By the way, if you want to join the Everyday Photography Challenge, I encourage you to try this challenge as well. It is very beneficial for me, and you can go to this link right here, or you can go to this card right here, but there are no basic rules. The rule is just to force yourself to go out more often, to shoot more photos, to make more time for your photography hobby and share it with us, and I will try to feature your pictures on my next videos. Anyway, as I said before, today I want to share my experience, my observation, and my evaluation after using this lens more often lately. And yeah, while I'm sharing my thought, I also want to share a little bit of some of the pictures that I've taken using this lens so that you can get a better idea of what this lens is capable of. These pictures might not be my greatest photographs, but I hope that these pictures can help to demonstrate what this lens is capable of. So yeah, the Panasonic 20mm f1.7. First thing that really makes it attractive in my opinion is the small size of the lens. Look at it. This is very small, very slim, so that if you combine it together with a small camera like the Panasonic GX85 that I have right here, it will create a slim silhouette profile that makes it really easy to pack inside any kind of camera bag. And what that means is that I will be more likely to bring this combination of camera and lens everywhere I go, because this is such an easy to carry around combination, and that means I will take more pictures using this combination of camera and lens. Now I want to talk a little bit about some technical aspect of this lens. Let's talk about the focal length first. This lens has a focal length of 20mm, which is right in between 17mm, which is about 35mm in full frame terms, and 25mm, which is about 50mm in full frame terms. So this is right in between, and it's equivalent to about 40mm. And that's weird, but I really love it. It's so versatile. It turns out that this is one of the most versatile focal lengths that I ever have, because I can mimic those two focal lengths with just one lens. I can mimic 17mm by stepping backward a little bit, and I can get that wider field of view. But I can also mimic the 25mm focal length by just stepping forward a little bit and getting that tighter shot. So yeah, this is a really versatile focal length, especially for street photography, for general purpose photography, and for similar other stuff. Next technical aspect that I want to talk about from this lens is the large aperture of f1.7. It really helps a lot for both lower light situation as well as to get that blurry background that everybody seems to love, that bokeh kind of look. This lens can do it really easily, especially if you go a little bit closer to your subject. Now I want to talk about the image quality of the Panasonic 20mm f1.7. And basically the image quality is just fantastic. Everything is just very sharp, everything is very contrasty, the colors are just nice, and it's basically just flawless. You can just shoot wide open at f1.7 and it will be very sharp already. You can stop it down a little bit to f2 or f2.8 and you'll get excellent sharpness across the frame. But even at f1.7, I'm already happy with the result. So yeah, this is really a sharp lens, and you can really depend on the image quality of this lens. Now, after using this lens a lot for my everyday photography challenge, I think the best usage scenario for this lens is definitely street photography. I have to be honest with you, I'm not really a good street photographer. I still need to learn a lot about street photography, but from my experience of trying to do street photography using this lens, I think the focal length and the large aperture of f1.7 and just the overall performance of this lens really helps for street photography. However, street photography isn't the only thing that this lens can do. I think it also excels for environmental portrait. If I want to take a picture of my wife, especially if I want to take that wide angle portrait kind of look with some sceneries behind her, I think this is just a fantastic lens for that. Again, the combination of the focal length 20mm as well as the large aperture of f1.7 really makes the subject pop a lot, and a little bit of that background blur can give that 3Dness look that I'm really looking for, and this is very fantastic for that kind of usage scenario. Also, this lens works really well for a little bit of landscape photography. If you want a little bit of a tighter composition compared to the usual wide angle field of view, then the 20mm can really work well for landscape photography. And also for just everyday general purpose photography, food photography, just for photographing a little bit of objects and products, I think the 20mm also works well for that. Again, the focal length 20mm is really versatile. You can use it for anything, and I really think that the fact that the focal length is not too wide, it really helps to reduce all sorts of perspective distortion that you usually see with a wider focal length. So yeah, this is such a versatile, flexible lens that you can use for almost any kinds of photography genre. So now I want to talk a little bit about some of the flaws of the 20mm f1.7. And there's not a lot, there's only one flaw of this lens, and that is the autofocus. Not that it's bad, it's really fast, especially with newer camera bodies like my Panasonic G85 or this GX85 right here, or even my older Panasonic GX8. However, it is not as fast as my other lens. But again, I just want to emphasize that it's not slow, it's just not as fast as some of the other lenses. Now let's talk about some alternative lenses that you should consider if you are considering the Panasonic 20mm f1.7 Mark II. And there are a few lenses that I think you should know as well. First alternative is not just one lens, but actually 3 lenses. Remember that I said the 20mm is right in between 17 and 25mm. Well, the first alternative are all 17 and 25mm lenses. And because this is an f1.7 lens and this is a small lens, I'm also going to give you an alternative that is actually small and not really big and heavy. So the alternatives are the Olympus 17mm f1.8, the Olympus 25mm f1.8, as well as Panasonic 25mm f1.7. All of these lenses are not that big, and maybe this focal length can work better for you if you don't really like the 20mm focal length. Next alternative is the Panasonic Leica 15mm f1.7 that's currently recording this video right now. This lens is significantly wider than the 20mm. It is slightly taller, but it is about the same weight as this guy right here. Maybe a little bit heavier, but not by much. And it is wider, so if you're into wider focal lengths compared to the 20mm, which is not really that wide, then I think the Panasonic Leica 15mm should be in your consideration as well. I used to be a wide angle kind of guy, so I much prefer the Panasonic Leica 15mm, but these days I prefer something a little bit tighter like the 20mm. Last but not least, a zoom lens. Well, this is not really an apple-to-apple comparison, but the Panasonic Lumix 12 to 32mm f3.5 to f5.6 has a very similar form factor to the Panasonic 20mm that we're talking right now. This is also a pancake lens if you don't open it up, and it is also very lightweight, very small. The image quality is also sharp, and this has an added bonus of flexible focal length. It can go from wide angle 12mm all the way to 32mm, and it's just a fantastic lens if you need that versatility and flexibility of a zoom lens. However, the aperture is f3.5 to f5.6, so it's not as large as the f1.7 of the Panasonic 20mm. So if you need more flexibility, go with this lens. If you need that lower light capability as well as a little bit of background blur, then go with the 20mm f1.7. And that wraps up today's video. So that is all for today's video. I hope that this video is useful and informative for you. And please comment down below what is your favorite focal length for prime lens. And also if you have any question about today's video, feel free to comment down below as well and I will try to answer them all. Also don't forget to support my channel by liking this video, sharing this video and subscribing to my channel down below. Thank you and see you on the next video. Goodbye.